An already packed workload for Federica Mogherini, Italy's newly appointed EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, just got more packed with the attacks in Paris and, among other issues, Ukraine and Russia's looming economic crisis. What will she do as Europe's chief diplomat and security leader? Two issues which will change her workload over the coming weeks and months: the Charlie Hebdo attacks and the looming Russian banking and economic crisis. What are your ideas to deal with the threat of extremism and also new diplomatic initiatives with Russia?
What happened in Paris last week showed us very well that there is no border between the internal and the external threats, and also needs to be no border between our external and internal action. We need to adapt to a world that is less and less dividing between what is internal and what is external. And we have to react on that, and to also think that the reaction to the attacks in Paris is not only a security one, but it's also and mainly a political and cultural one. We need to work with the countries that are in majority Muslim countries, not only in North Africa and in the Middle East, but also in Africa or in Asia, to develop measures to protect them as well from terrorism, because it's not really an attack of Islam against the West and the reaction of the West against Islam, but it's a misuse of the Muslim religion against even Muslim people, you know. So we will need to not only act immediately on the security level, but also to develop new thinking, new way of thinking and approaching
And any ideas at this point? I mean, people are waiting for concrete actions, aren't they, from politicians?
Definitely, yes. The more concrete measures are going to come from the internal side, from the Justice and the Interior Ministers, obviously, and that comes to in my view, first of all, the exchange of information. We need to share intelligence much more, and so far member states have been sometimes, you know, a little bit jealous of the best pieces of information they had, while I think that this can be an occasion for us to understand that we are all on the same boat, as we say, or in the same problem, and we need to face that together with no jealousies. The security of one part of Europe is also the security of the rest.
And what about the Russian question? That's a looming crisis, isn't it?
It's clear that the only way we can go forward is facilitating the dialogue and asking, first of all, the Russians to implement fully the Minsk agreement. It is to be said that in the last days, in the last hours, we had very bad news with the killing of 12 people, and this is somehow a step back compared to the fact that President Poroshenko managed, with his initiative, to find for more than a month a period of quiet, relative quiet in the area, in the east of Ukraine. I think we need to continue with the sanctions as long as there is no positive developments on the ground. At the same time, we have to open channels or reopen channels on a diplomatic level with Russia, to engage Russia, to find ways of making them change the policy.
How, in the ever-changing sands of international diplomacy, do you measure success?
I guess you can measure success only on the results, which in foreign policy are difficult to, not to identify. Identifying success is very easy. It's, first of all, not having new crises and contributing to solving the crisis that we have around us, there's plenty of, but also increasing relations with partners that are maybe far away but very important in a globalized world. So it's not only the crisis-related work, but it's also the diplomatic, political, but also economic or cultural relations with the rest of the world.
You're at the beginning of your term here. What would you like to change if you look at the big picture?
I think we need to simplify the relations among the different structures of the European Union. We need to make it more coherent. The fact that when one speaks for the European Union. We really need to change this in the next 5 years. It's, I think, the last call for European Union to realize that we need to be simple, we need to be oriented to the targets to deliver to our citizens. And on foreign policy, this will make a lot of difference.
And beyond that, the question of what would you like to change in the world?
At the moment, we have all the instruments that we need to, I said yesterday in the plenary, to be a superpower. Superpower from many points of view in the world. We need to be aware of the instruments we have, of the weight we have in the world, and to use it, because a superpower that doesn't realize that it's a superpower, it is not. We are living in the most complicated and dangerous part of the world. And for a regional integration experience as successful as we are, we have the responsibility, the moral and political duty to try and bring peace and stability starting from our borders.